Welcome again, everyone. Jerry's Old Guy Review. And today, let's talk about the RC4WD drive Gelande 2. Now, this isn't one of my oldest rigs. So I got this back in 2019. Because I was so excited about the body, I didn't pay any attention to the dimensions on the website. RC4WD drive's problem. They make multiple bodies to fit one chassis. Now the Trailfinder has 3 different chassis. The Gelande 2, don't recall seeing the first one, but the Gelande only has one chassis. And you're putting Land Rovers and you're putting Land Cruisers on it. 2 different vehicles, 2 different dimensions. This body is ginormous for the chassis. I would have liked to seen you make the Toyota on the Trailfinder 2. Let's make the FJ40 on the Trailfinder 2. It is accurate. It is leaf sprung. Hell, I would have preferred to see it on the short wheelbase. But we got the Gelande 2. So this is a vehicle that if you are into scale, and scale is very important to you, this will chap your ass because this vehicle is ginormous. And this is part of the reason I want to get the FMS FJ40, because I hear that one's huge too. So right now, if I was a real stickler for scale, I could only drive this with my Red Cat Gen 8 Scout. That is the only vehicle that they are remotely in correct scale to, which a lot of people, 110 scale really doesn't exist except in certain people's minds nowadays, because this is more of a, in my opinion, this is probably a 9.5 scale, not even remotely a 10 scale. And what are they saying now? They're saying like the FMS is like a 7th scale? I'm not sure. But I would love to see the 2 of them together, because even though the Gelande 2 is a superb trail chassis, but with slight modifications, it is an independent, or it's a linked setup. It has the potential to, be a decent crawler, but not remotely with this body on it. This body is pure crawler, or trailer, which I don't mind. The tires were ridiculously small. I put some Proline flat irons on them, and I think this is an excellent scaled tire. Let's get back. I figured this way, instead of looking at a truck on the bench while we talked about it, we could just watch one drive around on trailing areas. Now, I've been screwed because I would love to have some lawn planted here next to the course, but every time I've had it planned to pick up some dirt, we've had a storm. And almost everybody who carries dirt won't load it in a storm, won't sell it in a storm. So, there we are. So I've got plenty of dirt. We're going to eventually cover that little project that I knocked out. and it may get bigger. But basically next to the bridge is now a danger thing. If you are a trail truck and you drive off the bridge for any reason, you are going to need a tow truck. A very impressive tow truck. But back to the Gelande. You know, a lot of these RC four-wheel drive trucks, you know, they're just not made for pure performance. I mean, if you want to go crawling with your buddies or you want to enter crawling competitions, you are not generally buying an RC four-wheel drive. The, what was that, the CX2 or whatever they made that was supposed to be like more of a competition truck, pretty much fell flat on its face. It really didn't blow everyone's skirt up like RC four-wheel drive was hoping for. So, you know, some people liked it, but I don't think enough that it ever broke the mainstream. Now, the Gelande 2, most people I know that have these bought them and put the bodies aside and are using those for, you know, for driving, you know, trailing. They're not out doing this. Well, they're kind of doing this, but you want to be able to see what it can do. But this truck is so top heavy, even remotely, you know, right here, I'm going straight across my obstacle, one of my easier obstacles, and it's you're fighting to keep it from flipping over. And that's because it's doing what it was designed to do. It was designed to look good driving down the road. But, you know, I just can't, even though this truck, because of the situation where I was at when I was building it, I needed something long-term to tinker with. So it's got the winch. It's got a different rear bumper. It's got the snorkel on it. I did a lot of extra detailing on it. It's weathered to look dirty. But, see, even this is technically a good compromise. That it is fairly decent in small situations. Now, people rag on the fact that they still RC. This is the ready to run one. And, RC four-wheel drive still puts nickel metal batteries in it. I'm going to tell you right now that this nickel metal, because RC four-wheel drive still makes the most complicated body removal system on Earth. Second to any axial SCX-10-3 with a Wrangler on it, where you got to tweak the hood and everything to get it to sit right. This nickel metal battery, I do not remember when the last time was that I charged it. And it's been plugged in. I started to prep for this video and was like, I better charge this battery. And then everything came on and I said, well, cripe, I don't know how long that thing's been plugged in, which there you go. That's breaking the cardinal rule, leaving batteries charged or plugged in. But unlike a LiPo, I left this thing plugged in. I don't have to worry about other than putting a flat spot in it, which a couple of charges and drains could remove, but not like a LiPo where I would just have ruined it. So see, this, for being a pretty trail truck, doesn't do a bad job. Now, other than making it even prettier, I haven't really done anything to this truck. And since 2019, actually good, I cleaned all the mud off that tire. You know, it is pretty, but I like to take it out, and I like to throw it through the mud. You know, the joy of living in Alaska is what you guys would call spring, we call breakup. And that is when it suddenly gets warm. All the snow we've got basically melts in a week. And it makes a mess. That's part of the reason I've done so much mending here is my trails, they get pretty washed out every year. So I got all this new clay in here to make the trails better. I've been driving my semis like crazy. But that is not for this video. So, this pretty truck is actually, gonna get up to old Dead Man's Pass. Named by Mr. Fred. Back in my naming of the obstacles names, Fred named that Dead Man's Pass. It's got its own big sign on it. And I forgot that this truck could do this. Oh, front bumper's hung up. Is it gonna get out? Oh, and it did. But because it's a big girl, big boy, big them, it is not gonna, is it? Does it clear the bridge? Oh, it does. But the front pumpkin, oh, there we go. Front pumpkin was hung up. Oh, when the pumpkin's hung up, oh, the whole axle was hung up there. Whoosh! And then the body slams down. And now with a little bit of self-control, look at that. Where the hell's the truck? Oh, crepe. I'm totally cattywampus now on that one. See that? So now, what I was hoping for on this video is to just explain, you know, some of the downfalls to RC four-wheel drive bad choices. I once had somebody on my comment section that claimed he designed both these trucks. I don't know if that's true or not, but you know, I totally agree, and that is what some manufacturers, like, you know, Vanquish makes up their own bodies for vehicles. Traxxas picks bodies with similar, or sets their chassis up with similar vehicles so that they work on them. But, you know, this is just a little too much for, you know, let's drag some branches around. It's tough to get back there, you. I mean, that's like if I design a chassis and I release two options. One of them is a Chevy Silverado and the other one is a Subaru Brat on the same chassis. One of those two is not going to look right. But this actually looks decent. Audrey, we are not going to play this game today. You have been horrible. Since she became a mom, the RC trucks are even more exciting to her. But if you want something that's ridiculously expensive for, you know, to do some moderate trailing or do some hardcore trailing and some very moderate crawling, the Gelande 2 might be right up your alley. Now, if you want to take one that does excellent trailing, moderate crawling, but you can make it look like a real vehicle, then RC4WD drive is definitely for you, because there is nothing on this truck that didn't come from RC4WD drive. The rear bumper is made for a trailer hitch. Get off of me. What? Oh my God, you're muddy. You guys can't see behind the camera. Boom, a boom. The front bumper is stock with some nice hooks on it, which is like the original one. The snorkel, didn't really need it, but it's just rubber, and it was really cheap. What else did we put on that? Oh, we got the windshield wiper cover. That's right there on the passenger side. And I got the kit, so because it's unlicensed, you know, you could make it a Toyota Land Cruiser. And this truck, for what I plan to do with it, is perfect. But I found myself wanting to test it more. And to me, oh, I got that Rancho front. It looks like a stabilizer bar, but it's a steering link. But for what I got this truck, now I found it for more than just prettiness. I enjoy the fact that it actually can do some moderate crawling. So I do feel that it's kind of dual purpose. You know, and I know if a lot of you viewers that have the Gelande 2s, have the RC4WD drives. I mean, let's blow up the comments. Let's talk about these two. Let's talk about RC4WD drive scale issues. And you know me, I love to chat it up. And if you saw something, or you know of something this truck can do that I haven't tried yet, let me know in the comments. We'll make another video. Like and subscribe, comment below, and I will talk to you on the next one.